this is the one. This is it. That episode. The one where you go, so this is ReBoot Season 1. I know every line in this tale. I can recall every joke, every visual gag, every nuance. And yet, I still watch it year after year. Why? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you.
Quiet! Get down! Get down!
What is it? Viral binomes? A roaming tear? Is it megabyte? Hexadecimal?
Worse! Much worse! Oh no! He's coming!
It slices, dices, cuts, copies, pastes, and even formats Julienne fries!
Wizards, Warriors, and a Word from Our Sponsor was written by Jono Howard and Lane Richard, with story by Gavin Blair, Phil Mitchell, Ian Pearson, and Lane Richard. The main cast includes Michael Benier as Bob, Kathleen Barr as Dot, Jesse Moss as Enzo, and Michael Donovan as Mike the TV. As the intro might have betrayed to you, Mike the TV features prominently in this one, which means one thing: wacky hijinks guaranteed. And hilarity ensues immediately, and really doesn't let up until the conclusion. Every good episode has a couple of scenes where the audience goes, yeah, that was a good scene, or my favourite scene is approaching. Right, you know what I'm on about. Well, in this one, every scene is my favourite scene. No matter what I show you, someone is going to say to themselves, what about that scene? Or, he didn't show my favourite joke. That's the beauty of this. Okay, so now that I've geeked out over it, what is this tale actually about? For the first time in the series thus far, the entire episode, outside of a short scene at the beginning and the end, take place in a game. As Bob continues to get upset at Mike's non-stop chatter, we get some great infomercials from Mike, including the Bucket O Nothing, for only $99.99. Just before Bob can use glitch to dismantle Mike, a GameCube lands right on top of them. And they find themselves in a fantasy dungeon crawler game called A Dungeon Deep, clearly inspired by the likes of Dungeons & Dragons. Indeed, they spot 4 strange and heavily armed characters run past them. As Bob explains, it's a party-based game. Now, a hardcore tabletop gamer in my adult life, this makes this episode all the more fun for me. Our quad reboots, and we see Enzo as an elf archer, Dot is a wizard, Bob is a thief, and Mike is a warrior, though he can't actually lift his sword off the ground. Bob tells Mike to stay put outside.
Shunned by his friends, ignored by his loved ones, abandoned by those he trusted the most.
No, not, never, 9, no way, ixnay on the yes part, negatory.
Mike promises he'll behave and stay out of Bob's way, and without further ado, the 4 of them head inside. A stylized symbol flies across the screen for the sake of the audience, with the number 1. This indicates what level of the dungeon they're on, and there are 66 total. But to get started, we meet the guard, statue, head thingy. Yeah, that's its technical name.
What's that?
Now there's an unhappy camper.
Ugh, gives me the jaggies. Cool.
To win the chalice, listen to me. One in all in one. That's the key.
Major! Alphanumeric! Awesome! What does it mean? It's some kind of riddle. Maybe a clue.
Or a trap. Let's find out.
3 of them push on the door, but it's not until Mike charges at it, and all 4 are at the door, that it gives way. Of course, it sends them careening down a rancid river with the sounds of wailing. Bob makes a sarcastic quip about how welcoming and cozy the place is, and Dot finds a map inside that pointy hat of hers. It shows them their position in relative to the user's team, and they're heading to a bottomless pit. Oops. Bob manages to grab onto a ledge, and the others manage to grab onto Bob. They pull themselves up, and move on to level 2, which happens to include 2 giants in gladiator armor.
Prepare to taste the blade of my butter knife? Don't you just hate when that happens? Do something!
Nice. Though the group is initially upset with the result of the spell, a light bulb goes off in Bob's mind, and he tells Dot to do the spell again and again. Each time, more blokes appear, but they get smaller and smaller, until Bob and Enzo are literally able to just step on them. With that crisis creatively solved, now they must pick a door.
Alright, let's get going. This way.
I think it's this one.
Wait, let's stop and think about this first.
Look, the only way to figure it out is to try one. Oh.
Get away from me, boy. You bother me. All right, folks. Step right up. Step right up. Don't be late for the next level.
Mike's random pick turns out to be the correct one, and they proceed. Obviously, we're already about halfway through, and the episode doesn't have the kind of time to spend on each dungeon level. But from here on out, we sort of get a highlight reel of their continuing adventures throughout, with each highlight broken up with a display of what level they're on. These highlights include a giant spider, which Bob uses his aforementioned butter knife to cut from its webbing, causing it to fall. I wasn't a huge fan of that monster, being an arachnophobe. It was a little too real looking. We also have a trio of carrot warriors, which Bob slices up using glitch, an armoured warrior which Enzo hits with his arrows, which, by the way, have clown faces instead of tips, in what I assume was a tongue-in-cheek way of appealing to the censors. We have a water monster that Dot freezes with her staff, and a narrow spire suspended over a bottomless pit that our heroes find themselves on. We never do find out how they get off that spire, but finally, we come to level 65.
Dot, what level is this?
Level 65. Only one more to go, and the users group is already there. Look out! Oh, sure, it just has to breathe fire, too.
Why not? A fire-breathing skeleton fits right in with shadow worms, living rock piles, killer puddles, haunted laundry, battle carrots, armored...
Watch out!
They pass an area of traps, which trashes their flying banana. Wow, I never thought I'd write that sentence. And proceed through, aptly dodging said traps. After getting through in a hilarious way, they come to what appears to be the final level. Their goal, the chalice, is very close.
This is it, guys. The last level.
Finally, we made it!
Bum 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 bum.
So that's my new ringtone. It seems a few challenges still await our heroes, as a shadow monster rises up and attacks. It tosses Dot and Enzo across to the other side of the pit. As Bob goes to rescue Dot, who's about to fall, it comes to Mike to save them. Despite their doubts, that's exactly what he does.
All right, Mike!
I don't believe it. He's a genius.
Of course, the light. Mike, where in the world would you get a crazy idea like that?
Tonight, Dr. Goldsmith versus the Shadow Monsters Part 4.
Only on BMMN.
The Bad Monster Movie Network. I like that.
Good job, Mike. I think we all owe you a big apology.
Yeah.
Somebody give me a hug!
The mysterious statue head speaks again, just as the floor starts to give way. Before they're cast into a bottomless pit, Dot figures out that they need to all open these doors together, and they make it into the chalice room. But something, or someone, is waiting for them.
I don't think so, pal.
We're in trouble, aren't we?
Big time. Go for the chalice!
An evil clone of each of them appears, and at first, they definitely have the upper hand, except maybe for Bob's. Dot gets turned into a painting, Enzo gets tied up, and Mike gets chased around the room with a sword. Things change when Mike uses the power of television. He plays a promo for a show called The Love Hospital, which scares the Dot clone away. Dot repays the favour by turning the Mike clone into a beach ball and kicking it through a mirror. Then she tosses the Enzo clone through the mirror, getting rid of that, and Mike deals with the last one.
Don't touch that dial! You're tuned to the commercial channel! All commercials, all the time!
An eternity of useless products to rot your skeevy little mind forever.
The users approach and get in the room as well, despite the floor of the previous chamber falling away. But they're too late. Mike grabs hold of the chalice, and the game ends in victory. At Dot's diner in the final scene, the sprites apologize for treating Mike so badly.
He's silly. He's kooky. He's really valuable in a dungeon-like adventure game.
He's everybody's favorite appliance! Mike the TV! Mike!
And one of the most satisfyingly fun tales comes to an end. Wow, what a treat. There's a lot of things to like about this. The great characterization, the immaculate dialogue, the perfect pacing, the great humour, both visual and verbal, and the absolutely creative genius of the game itself. It's obvious the game segments in the episodes we've seen thus far are a perfect chance for the creative juices to flow, as they allow the characters to basically be put in any circumstance that the writer wants. And here, the dungeon design and monsters and scenarios tell me the creative team had a field day with this one. Something cool is happening in every shot. There is no downtime. All killer, no filler, as it were. It still doesn't carry any deep, impactful message, nor does it build into the soon-to-be overarching mythos. But if I had to show just one episode of the first season to hook someone on this series, this is the one. It's a 3 out of 3 from me.